Hi guys, I'm here at Estrellas Poker Tour in Madrid, and I've bumped into one of the greats of the game, a recent EPT winner, the most recent EPT winner, Paris last month, and also now a Pokerstars ambassador to boot, Mr. Barny Boatman. How you doing, Barny?
Good to see you. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Not as well as you, but I'm doing well, thank you. I should also mention he's doing very well in this main event so far as well, so we'll see how that goes for him. So Barny, to get straight into it, you've obviously been in poker a long time. I looked at your Hendon mob this morning and saw your first cash was back in recorded cash, back in 1998 in Slovenia, I think it was.
That's right.
How did you first get into it?
Well, I was always into games anyway. I used to play every kind of game. And then at school we played penny against the wall. Whoever got the closest won all the pennies, and flicking cards against the wall. And then we started to play free card brag, and so it was really at school. And then obviously my careers officer suggested a career in professional poker.
Oh really?
No. No, I mean, it continued to be a hobby in my teenage, early 20 years, and when me and my brother Ross had a little home game, and at some point we found out about tournaments. We found out they did them down at the Vic in London, and I've told this story many times, but I went and whether very lucky or very unluckily, I won the first tournament I ever played, which was a 7-card stud tournament. Went back the following week and chopped it. So I just thought, oh, this is easy, which I must have run so good. I had no idea what I was doing, I'm sure. But I was hooked on tournament poker specifically, as well as poker in general.
Yeah. And before poker or during, were you any sort of interesting jobs before that, or was it?
Yeah, I did a lot of jobs. I was a barman. I was a journalist. I worked in construction, van driving. I worked in a law centre for quite a long time, giving advice and representing people at tribunals about employment, housing, and things like that. And I really enjoyed that because it meant something, and it was kind of talking and arguing for a living. I think I probably got some of the sort of reading abilities, the ability to talk somebody round a bit from that. I don't know. When I won that tournament in Slovenia that you mentioned, which was a 7-card stud, that was my main game then. It was £8,000 was the prize. It was 100 bazillion lira. They gave me a big comedy check with loads and loads of zeros on it. And I took that money. I said, you know what? I'm going to leave the job for a while, take this £8,000, do the circuit in Europe, see how long it will last. And you know what? So far, so good.
So far, so very good. How would you say the image of the game has changed, or the perception of what people think of poker over the last, 10, 20, 30 years? Has it changed? Is it the same?
Yes, the image has changed massively. I mean, you kind of have to separate, in a way, the US from everywhere else, because it was much more part of the culture there.
Yeah.
And famously, some presidents were good at poker and all the rest of it. But in the UK and probably in the rest of Europe, it was seedy, backroom, dodgy people, villains, whatever, and all male, quite old. I was the kid, in the games I played. Believe it or not, I was the kid. I think what's happened, especially with the advent of the internet, with all the training materials that are out there, with the fact that you can go on a site like Pokerstars and for a few dollars you can win a seat in the main event like the one I played in Paris. So it's become very accessible. It's become very visible, and the kind of people that get into it is a much broader demographic, and there's a lot of young, very smart, university educated, and they crunch the numbers and they figure out exactly the right bet to make in a situation that over time that's going to be the one that makes you the most profit and all the rest of it, which in some ways you would think would make it intimidating. I kind of feel like I'm sort of living proof, but that's not the only way to skin a cat.
Yeah.
That's horrible. Skin a cat. But it's
there's room for different styles.
There's room for different styles. There's still room for your personality to come to the fore. There's still room to improvise. Experience still matters. Enjoying the game still matters. And You know, this is still that game that you played around the kitchen table. And
So for anyone who was like maybe not gone and played live, but has an interest in poker, or you know they're thinking, oh, I don't really want to go and play. You know, what would you say? Like, is there more we should do to help them do that, or what would you say to those people who?
Well, I would say watch some of the streams on YouTube. Listen to the people who are explaining the game. Find a game either live or online that suits you, that suits your pocket. You know, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yep.
You know, people. It's very welcoming. It's incredibly social. You'd be surprised. You know, didn't used to be that way either. It used to be, you know, people would just kind of grimace at each other. But it's very. I mean, people do it because they love it. I mean, people who are really smart could probably be making more money, you know, working in the city or whatever.
Right.
But they do it because they enjoy it, and it's the same with everyone else. It's certainly the same with me. You know, I would say that, you know, don't be afraid to ask questions and, you know, to look daft. No, people aren't thinking, oh, you're daft. They're just thinking about themselves, and you know, you know, you make a lot of friends in the game as well. You know, I mean, obviously, in whatever you do, you have to be, you know, you have to be alert, pick and choose who you trust or whatever. But poker, I find people in poker tend to be, if anything, more honest and more trustworthy than people in general. You kind of, your reputation is everything in poker. You know, if you ever like, you know, if you ever do something slightly dodgy, you know, show someone a card when you shouldn't, borrow some money and not pay it back, you know, it's all round the poker community. So it's kind of self-policing in that way anyway.
Yeah.
But you know, I find there's a lot of good people in this game.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. And final question, the most important question, of course, is if you could play heads-up poker against anybody, poker or non-poker, dead or alive, although probably help if they're alive because otherwise it'd be a bit one-sided. Who would that person be, and where would you play that game?
Well, it would be Tommy Cooper.
Oh wow!
Because he's a little bit of a hero of mine, and I always say that I based my poker style on him a little bit because he looked like he didn't know what he was doing, but the trick always worked out somehow. You know.
And you put your hand inside the bag and you're bringing the egg out to thunderous applause. It's not my night, is it? I've always been unlucky. Even when I was a little boy, I was unlucky. I had a rocket horse once and it died.
That's kind of how I like to play poker.
I was sat next to Barney for a good 3 hours yesterday, and he was giving it a bit of Tommy Cooper, and he was bashing us all up. It was hard work, but it was good fun. Barney, congratulations again on the last few weeks.
Thank you.
And good luck in this. Please don't knock me out. But
Okay.
it's been a pleasure, mate. Thank you.
I'll keep you for last.
All right. Cheers.